Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel. Tap that notification bell and like this video. That helps me to keep making videos. I'd appreciate it majorly. Note to self, next time build the wall before another 1.5 million migrants flood across the border. All right, so, there's an article here over at the Washington Examiner, which is a very conservative outlet. Actually, I saw it at Drudge first. It's the main one. No new wall at all, and it's all about that there's been no new wall built whatsoever. Okay, and this issue never mattered that much to me. I understand if you're a border state, you have a much different perspective than I do. But for many of us, and there's tons of immigrants in Philadelphia, tons, man, okay? And, when you drive through certain communities, you see it. But, and at first, you're like, wow, man, what's going on? But for the most part, this doesn't affect me, and I never had a very strong opinion on it, other than I felt for those who might have been affected by it. Okay, and I'll get to some of the parameters of this article, but basically, no new wall has been built whatsoever, and some of existing wall structures have been replaced, like 50 miles of existing wall have been replaced, which equates to 1.7 miles per month, the 30 months that he's been in office. But that's for wall where there was something already there, that needed to be, needed some upkeep. And so they just replaced it, whatever, with the bollard fencing, etc. It's just rather comical, actually, so many things about this that, the economy is raging right now, okay? Unemployment is at levels lower than we've seen in like 50 years, okay? So, you can't really blame immigration on, and those are American workers, okay? Those numbers are not immigrants that are counted into the labor census numbers, whatever, And I don't want to hear it about the citizen question. Believe me, the labor numbers are not immigrant workers. And you can fantasize all you want that they are, but they're not. So basically, the economy is doing better than it has been in a very long time. Whether or not Trump deserves all the credit for that, I seriously doubt it. But, let's say he deserves a good amount of it, mostly because he just instills tons of business confidence into people, to businesses, to the things they're going to be left alone, to do whatever they want. And that's good for business. But my point is that, the open borders, or the way, because hasn't changed whatsoever, hasn't affected the economy negatively in any way, shape, or form. And in fact, more Americans are employed because not because it hasn't changed. The ironic thing, and like I said, I'll read through. There's not much to this other than, what I just told you. There's been no new wall built, in areas where there wasn't wall already. None. The hilarious thing, though, is that if you actually did build a wall, like a 30-foot wall, say it's all bollard fencing, that basically every single inch of this country had that, all the, how many ever immigrants that are in the country, whatever number you put on it, whether it's 15 million, 20 million, 30 million, they'd be trapped in here. They wouldn't be able to get out. That's because they wouldn't, and we can't deport them because apparently, Trump, who's supposedly so hard on, immigration and wants to deport all the immigrants, when they were supposedly going to deport 2,000, which is less than half of the number that come across that are detained in one day, they'd all be stuck in here. So that when say, because they can't go through the ports of entry, they have to go out illegally just the way they came in illegally. And they'd be stuck. So that when the economy does turn south, And, and things, because it always does, and these things are all, business is extremely cyclical. And as I stated in my previous video, one of them, is that a lot of times politicians, they don't have the luxury of choosing, when they're running for office during a good economy or a bad economy, and they just have to run. Sometimes they do, and Trump chose wisely. He knew it was set up, that basically had everything for over 8 years over Obama. He had cleaned up a huge mess. Bush made a major, it was a disaster between the Iraq war and the financial crisis, which was totally real. I mean, it was horrible. We were losing like 8 million jobs a month, in the very beginning. But back to my point, when things do turn sour in the economy, and there's no jobs for the immigrants that are here illegally, they'd be stuck here, and we'd be forced to take care of them. They wouldn't be able to get out. It's just hilarious. And so that's the story there. But you can't, you can't take credit for the great economy, okay, and then blame it on immigration. Because immigration, there's been way more that came across the border, and the border hasn't changed whatsoever, anyways. So Trump administration has not installed a single mile of a new wall in a previously fenceless part of the U.S.-Mexican border in the 30 months since President Trump assumed office. In a statement, this is the U.S. Customs and Border Protection's numbers. This is not some study done by some outside group. The federal agency overseeing the border barrier construction confirmed that all the fencing completing since Trump took office is in place of dilapidated designs because the existing fence was in need of replacement. The agency that it had built 51 miles of steel bollard fence with funding that was set aside during the fiscal 2017 and 2018. But while the funding was meant both to replace outdated walls and to place barriers where there previously was none, the government has only completed the replacement projects. Projects to secure areas with no fence are still in the works. 50 miles of completed replacement barrier is a 10-mile gain since April. In Trump's 2.5 years in office, his administration has installed an average of 1.7 miles of barrier per month, and none of it in areas that did not previously have some sort of barrier. A total of 205 miles of new and replacement barrier has been funded in the 2.5 years since Trump took office. I don't know, man. I mean, like I was saying before, how much do you really have in common, whether you want to believe it or not, with Trump? Okay, how many of you out there are are members of Mar-a-Lago or members of any of his clubs for that matter? I mean, who is members of Mar-a-Lago and all his clubs? Many business executives that rely on immigrant labor. In fact, that video I just did last night about the Epstein party, the movie screening of Wall Street 2 back in 2010, August 2010, at the one of the Koch brothers. It's two brothers. They're billionaires, huge billionaires. And they're huge donors to Republican causes and Republican candidates. And they're big, huge proponents of immigration reform. And they're very supportive of immigrant labor. And they want to change the system so that the flow of labor is much more free and so forth. And yet, the people that are attending those parties are the same of the people that are inside Trump's most inner circle. Steve Mnuchin, his Treasury Secretary. Rudy Giuliani, is one of his top legal advisors during the Russia investigation and more, and has a long-standing relationship with Trump. The Commerce Secretary of Wilbur Ross. Okay, I mean, that's it, man. That's it. I could go on. Believe me, I could. I'm not going to. I'm going to stop there. That's the story there, man. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.